So in case you've been living under a rock, there's this company called Tesla, and it makes really cool cars. Its CEO even has a flamethrower and might actually be the real-life Tony Stark. And in the past few months, the stock of Tesla has more than doubled in value. And if you're one of the holders of Tesla stock, you've got to be feeling pretty electric right now. That was terrible. But what if you didn't buy Tesla stock? What if you got in a little bit too late in the action? Should you still buy Tesla stock today? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you my thoughts whether or not you should buy Tesla stock. My name is Kevin Conway. I make personal finance videos all the time, investing videos, real estate videos, all sorts of things, basically anything having to do with money. So if you like that sort of thing, be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to this channel and give a like to the video. I'd really appreciate just a simple like, that's all. Now let's jump right into it. Now before we jump in, let me know in the comments below if you are either an owner of Tesla or are thinking of purchasing Tesla stock. Now Tesla is one of those really polarizing companies. People either think that it's going to the moon or it's going to crash. So many people have gotten Tesla wrong one way or another. For example, Jim Cramer, you know, that bald guy on CNBC who seems to scream a lot, he actually trashed Tesla stock when it first went public, saying there was no business plan that this company had and it was going to fail spectacularly. And then there's this great video of Elon Musk responding to Jim Cramer on the street, interviewed by some CNBC guy, and he calls Jim Cramer a contra-indicator, saying that Tesla has a way to be profitable and it's going to make a ton of money in the future, and its stock is going to be worth way more than the $19 a share that it IPO'd at. Jim Cramer even called Tesla's Cybertruck a colossal failure just a few months ago. But interestingly, even Jim Cramer is now on board with Tesla. Now, like I said, everyone's gotten Tesla wrong, even Elon Musk himself. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when he bought Solar City with Tesla, he did so with Tesla stock as opposed to using cash, which meant that he's left billions and billions and billions of dollars on the table by trading Tesla stock for Solar City. Tesla also happens to be one of the most shorted stocks on the market today. Now, what does it mean to short a stock? It simply means to bet against the stock. Now, think about that. Tesla, of all the companies out there, is the most shorted stock. There's more money placed against Tesla than any other company, including GameStop and Macy's. I mean, have you been to a mall lately? It's just sad. There are tons of short sellers out there, and they are very vocal online. Elon Musk sometimes actually engages with them, saying that they were going to get the short burn of the century, and he's been right so far. There are tons of articles online that you could search for today in the recent past calling Tesla a massively failed company. Like I said, a lot of people were wrong. But luckily for Tesla shareholders, things can change very, very fast. Demand for Tesla's products has absolutely soared. As a result of the Model 3, the first mass market electric vehicle, Tesla has propelled itself to a new level of success. Tesla has a unique ability to make ordinary things simply cool. Look at the Cybertruck, one of the most ridiculous pieces of machinery out there today, which happens to be very cool because it is so unique. That is Tesla's brand, the ability to make something that isn't very cool initially, like an electric car, into something that you must have. The car even has dog mode, which to me is pretty much a selling point. And Elon Musk introduced dog mode on the back of a tweet from a fan, and then he went and simply changed the software on all the Teslas, and boom, dog mode was initiated. Now, Tesla has been very successful as of late, opening factories in China, getting all sorts of countries behind the idea of a gasoline-free future. Now, with all that being said, why now? Why has Tesla stock now gone absolutely insane? Well, I think it has to do with those things I previously mentioned, but mainly due to a massive shift in the way that investing companies and individuals are looking at the world. Brand new to the investing world and taking hold at major institutions like BlackRock is the idea of sustainable investing. No longer are investors or companies solely looking at returns for the future in a lot of their funds. They're looking at the sustainability aspect to the companies that they actually hold. Are they environmentally conscious? Are they socially responsible? And for better or worse, whether or not you agree, this massive shift in capital from companies that were solely focused on returning profits like oil companies into more sustainable oriented, environmentally conscious companies like Tesla has led to a massive shift in the increase of Tesla's stock price and decrease of other companies like the oil companies that have fallen off as of late. Simply put, a bet on Tesla is a bet that the future will have to be more green than it is today. Coupled with this is the fact that people have fear of missing out, or FOMO. So when the stock of a company like Tesla goes up by 10%, more people are attracted to that and therefore want to purchase Tesla stock, therefore driving it up even more, and so on and so forth. In fact, one of the most popular Google searches last week was, should I buy Tesla stock? All of this hysteria has driven up Tesla's stock price to a level valuing the company at more than the value of Ford, Chrysler, and GM combined. Now, getting back to the question at hand, should you buy Tesla stock today? Well, my answer is maybe, and I'll tell you what you should do before you think about purchasing Tesla stock. Number one, if you purchase Tesla stock, do not bet the farm. Do not borrow tons of money to do so, and do not put all of your eggs in one basket. If you have $1,000 to invest and no other investments today, do not put all $1,000 into Tesla stock. But why? What if it goes up a ton? Well, that very well could happen. But what happens if it goes down by 20, 30, 40% as it has done in the past? Do you have the stomach to withstand those gyrations in the stock prices? And what happens if it never recovers? You're going to be out that money. And if you only have $1,000 to invest, you want to be sure that you can get a decent return and not lose all of your money. So my first step would be to invest in a broad-based, low-cost index fund, something from Vanguard, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, or anything else that gives you broad exposure to the market, something like the S&P 500 index fund. This is because you can capture the broad growth of the market. You can get all the exposure to all the companies out there and not put all of your eggs in one basket. Get diversity and get growth over time. If you own a broad-based index fund, you're going to do reasonably well. And number two, if you do purchase Tesla stock, don't purchase it today and then be scared next week when it goes down or the following month. Don't sell right away. The key to growing wealth is buying and holding stock over the long period of time. Just think of the fact that just a short while ago, about a decade ago, Tesla was trading at $19 per share. When Tesla stock went up, some people may have sold it at $40 a share and been content with a doubling of their money. Now, they're probably regretting that today because today it's worth more than 25 times that $19 a share value. And likewise, many people probably purchased Tesla at around $200, $300 and then watched the share prices decrease in value, got scared, and sold too early. If you really believe in the tectonic shift of the way the world is going to go into a more green and sustainable world, and you think Tesla is going to be the forefront of that change, you want to be able to hold on for decades, not days, because nobody knows what the stock market is going to do next week, next year, or even few years from now. Simply put, time in the market beats timing the market. Let me tell you a little bit more about a study that really speaks to the goal of holding for the long period of time in order to ensure that you get good returns. Now, this study is more about the broad-based index fund, but Tesla stock can be applied to this as well. Take a look at this chart. If you would have missed the best 30 days of the stock market over the past 15 years, you would have lost money. However, if you would have just stayed fully invested and not done anything at all when the market went up or down or anything, but you just stayed in for 15 years, you would have made more than 3.5 times your money. Now think about that. 30 days separated you from making 3.5 times your money versus losing money during a 15-year period. That is the power of staying invested. You never know what the next day is going to do. You never know when Tesla or another company or an index fund is going to have a monster day, like Tesla did last week. Long-term investors in Tesla were rewarded last week, even though they suffered through months and years of all these headlines out there predicting the failure of Tesla. They stuck to it, they stayed invested, and when Tesla went up by 10, 20, 30% in the matter of a week, they were rewarded very, very handsomely. That's where you want to be. You want to buy and hold. So if you're going to purchase Tesla stock, buy it and hold it for the very, very long term. Now, where do you buy Tesla stock? If you're just starting out and you don't already have a broker, here are the key things that you really need to know. Number one, you do not ever want to pay account minimums or commissions on your brokerage firm. There are tons of brokerage firms out there today which offer commission-free trading. This didn't exist a few years ago, so feel very lucky that you're living today where you can purchase companies with $0 commissions. Some great companies out there, for example, that offer $0 commissions are, of course, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, M1 Finance, SoFi Invest, and a whole list of other firms out there. The key thing is just to pick one that you can invest with and therefore you can pay $0 commissions with. Another thing, be sure not to borrow on margin, especially if you don't have a lot of cash reserves as it is. You never want to be caught in a situation where the money that you invested is money that you absolutely need, and if the stock were to go down in value, you would be in a very difficult financial position. Only invest money that you would be comfortable losing. I know that's kind of counterintuitive because the goal is to make money, but that's the mindset that you want to have. If you have outstanding debt, if you have any obligations where you need significant cash, do not invest significant cash that you would need for those obligations. Always try to temper your emotions when you get into investing. There are a million reasons why Tesla stock could go down and stay down for the long term. Today, Tesla, like I said, is valued more than Ford, Chrysler, and GM combined. And those three companies manufacture and sell more than 15 million cars annually versus Tesla, which only does a few 100,000. Now, of course, Tesla is priced as a growth company because people expect them to deliver and sell more cars in the future. But just think of that simple fact. Tesla could also face downward pressure due to the fact that gasoline prices have stayed low and probably will stay low for the long term, therefore cutting one of the major benefits of having an electric car. And lastly, other car companies could come out with competing products against Tesla, just like the iPhone now faces a whole bunch of competition from Google, Huawei, and other manufacturers out there. With that being said, there are a lot of reasons to feel optimistic about purchasing Tesla stock. For example, even though Tesla could face competition from other manufacturers of cars, they got out to the market with a great product at scale first. Think of Spotify, for example. Of course, Apple Music has an inherent advantage because Apple makes the iPhone, and therefore they could push you to that product. But Spotify is still radically popular because they got to the market with a business model first. And secondly, sustainable living is here to stay. Consumers today are cognizant of their impact on the environment, and Tesla has an inherent advantage here as well. Teslas are also damn good cars. I mean, frankly, they are. They're really, really well respected by all sorts of car nuts out there. I myself am not really a big car guy, but if I were to spend on the next car that I purchase, I would probably get a Tesla. It'd probably be the Cybertruck because it's pretty cool. Tesla is also different than other car manufacturers because it can update its software instantaneously versus other car companies which are clunky pieces of metal. For example, that dog mode thing, that was done right away. There was no need to introduce a brand new system and install it on all different cars. Because the Tesla is so software centric, they were able to update it right away with a really cool feature. Tesla also has the infrastructure of their supercharge stations, and they also have all of the data from all of their drivers that is going back to their company where they can optimize their software and potentially introduce autonomous driving vehicles in the future as a result of all of this data that they are gathering. With all of that being said, I may purchase some Tesla stock with a little bit of discretionary money just to have some fun and be along for the ride. We'll have to see. For now, I'm content with investing the majority of my money in broad-based index funds, something boring, something sleepy, but something that'll give me a good, healthy return over time. If you are going to purchase Tesla stock, be sure to do it for the long term and invest prudently by taking care of your finances and not putting all of your eggs in one basket. But remember, hold on for the long term because you never know when Tesla will have another electric day. I've got to stop. I am becoming a dad soon, so the dad jokes are creeping in. At any rate, be sure to subscribe and like the video if you liked this video at all. And if you didn't like it, give it a like anyway because I would really appreciate it. Now, I'll see you next time. Thanks.